tuning in. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe. I love to see comments and engagement on my videos as well. So I wanted to talk about Pee Wee Herman. Pee Wee Herman was definitely in my childhood, and his real name is Paul Rubens. And this was etched in my childhood. I loved the movie. And it was just so silly. It appeared to be so kid friendly. I feel like this is something I should revisit because I feel like I might find like something in the movie that was probably inappropriate. But I don't know what it is about a lot of these figures, whether it be Disney or, a lot of these kids shows, something eerie or something there's something eerie or inappropriate with them. So I never knew that there was a rumor that he was a pedophile. I never knew that. I just saw this article today, and I was very interested because, like I said, this is a part of my childhood. I remember watching this movie, and as a matter of fact, I kind of would compare Pee Wee Herman to like Jim Carrey. He had those different series of The Mask, and what else did Jim Carrey have? There was another one. Oh, Ace Ventura. That was a part of my childhood too, being silly. So I never thought anything past that he was just very silly. He did like a lot of extreme things in his acting in order to make us, kids, teens, whatever, laugh, right? So I'm getting this article from People. Paul Rubens reveals his true self and shares his final words in candid new Pee Wee Herman documentary. Death is just so final. To be able to get your message in at the last minute or at some point is incredible, Rubens said in Pee Wee as himself. So I guess that's what the documentary is called, Pee Wee as himself. So in the new 2-part HBO docuseries, Pee Wee as himself, Paul Rubens shares his final words with the world, delivering a series of bombshell revelations along the way. Best known for his iconic alter ego, Pee Wee Herman Rubens sat for more than 40 hours of one-on-one interviews candidly discussing everything from his sexuality to the arrests he described as giant footnotes in his life and the unexpected way he chose to say goodbye. So I had no idea that he was arrested. I did not know that this was something in his career. I thought that he was kind of like more of like a private, silent kind of life. So I'm very surprised at that. He did also reveal that he was gay. So it says Rubens comes out as gay. So although Rubens never publicly came out during his lifetime, director Matt Wolf says it was something the comedian always intended to do. So he wanted to reveal himself as gay, but he never did. I don't know if I think I would have, that I could suspect, but being a pedophile, I never suspected. Being gay, because he was, well, anyway, I'm not going to add any stereotypes towards it, but I can see that. So although Rubens never publicly came out during his lifetime, director Matt Wolf says it was something the comedian always intended to do. And so he says it was a decision he made, but one he was very ambivalent and anxious about. And also that could be because of the time that he was in back then. Maybe it wasn't that acceptable. So maybe that's the reason why he wasn't so openly trying to talk about his sexuality or his sexual preference rather. Hey, Brent, thank you. Let me see. He was very concerned about having his sexuality be a defining factor of who he was. And that's the thing too, I can see that as well. If they try to tie it to his career and things like that. So I can see why he would be hesitant about that. For the documentary, Rubens reflected on a long-term, very serious relationship with a man named Guy shortly after college. They lived together, shared a cat, and according to Rubens, the relationship inspired much of his comedy. I looked across the room and saw someone and fell in love instantly, he recalled. I just went, that's him, that's the guy. Ultimately, Rubens prioritized his career and moved forward hiding his sexuality and foregoing all future relationships. I was out as you can be, and then I went back in the closet, he said. My career absolutely would have suffered if I was openly gay. So I went to great lengths for many, many years to keep it a secret. That's interesting. I do think it was because of the time that he was in. Oh, this picture is so cute of him. I would have never known that he was gay, actually. If I look back at his younger years, I would not have known. And Pee Wee Herman, because he was so silly, I don't want to add stereotypes to that, but maybe. But I've never suspected all this time. Only reading this article, that's how I know, but I never suspected it. A younger Paul Rubens looks like the son in Shameless. Is it called Shameless? Shameless on Netflix. I don't know if any of you have watched that, but that's what a young Pee Wee Herman looks like. He was a handsome guy. He is a handsome guy. So I don't think I would have just automatically been like, oh, I think he's gay. And it's unfortunate that back then there was a fear that my career is going to suffer just because of my sexuality. I think now we're in a time where that's not a thing. Actually, there's more privilege that comes with that. So it's unfortunate that certain people have lived through certain generations, certain times where they couldn't do certain things, and then you come into a generation where there's more freedom. You know, we have it in TV shows, we have it in movies, we have it in music videos. Everyone is openly, talking about their sexuality. As a matter of fact, probably too much. Sexuality is probably too much of a topic, right? Because we have shows. I think Zendaya had, was it Zendaya? We have different shows for teenagers and for kids where we have two mothers or two fathers. Look at Modern Family, right? So we have now kind of been ushered into that generation where it's acceptable. So it's unfortunate that he had to live through that, but it is what it is, right? His ancestors, our ancestors made a way now for people like him in this generation to be able to live their life openly in a same-sex relationship if they wanted to. So the article goes on to say that during his time at the California Institute of the Arts, Rubens began exploring alternative forms of creativity. It was just this little safe community of people, he recalled. Everyone was seeming to figure out who am I as an artist. For Rubens, performance art was what resonated. Sitting in the dorm at 2 a.m. in drag, just hanging out. You might think that I was a drag queen, and you could be right, he said. Doing drag and passing, I can draw a line from that to having an alter ego and being successful in having that character pass as a real person. Rubens says his arrest for indecent exposure in an adult theater was a major footnote in his life. Okay. He exposed himself in a theater and he got arrested. So I thought the arrest was related to the pedophilia thing, but I guess he will get to that later on in the article. If I was conflicted about sexuality, fame was so much more complicated. Rubens reflected in the documentary. He added that his 1991 arrest for indecent exposure in an adult theater in Sarasota, Florida, became a major footnote in his life. It really backfired when I got arrested, and people had never seen a photo of me other than as Pee Wee Herman. And then all of a sudden I had a Charlie Manson mugshot, he said. It's shocking what hideous, horrible, mean stuff people say and think about me. Years later, police raided his home and seized his collection of vintage homoerotic art, including materials they categorized as child pornography. Oh, so this is related to material that he had, not in relation to actually, having an interaction, with someone who was underage. So let's read on. When he would discuss his 2002 arrest with me, he said, "The overwhelming feeling was shock," Wolf recalls. "From my point of view, it was incredibly unjust, so it was easy for me to lay it all out clearly so that people could collectively recognize he had been mistreated." Rubens didn't let the filmmakers know he was dying of cancer. Aw. So, despite the depth of their conversations, Wolf says he had no reason to believe that Rubens was contemplating his mortality. In reality, Rubens had been quietly battling lung cancer for 6 years, confiding only in a small circle of close friends. I'm glad that they kept that private and respected his wishes, because if they had not done so, it would have been blasted over the media and with articles and things like that. So it's nice that he had a group of people around him that he could actually trust, because a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, it's hard for them to find people that they can actually confide in. And you see, information that's supposed to be only for, close people exposed, right? It was incredibly shocking, Wolf says, of Rubens' death, which occurred just 1 week before they were scheduled to record a final interview. I found out that Paul died on Instagram along with everybody else. So he passed away back in 2023. I had no idea that he passed away either. So here we are. Shortly after his passing, Rubens' assistant shared with Wolf a private recording he had made the day before he died. His final message to the world: more than anything, the reason I wanted to make a documentary was to let people see who I really am and how painful and difficult it was to be labeled something that I wasn't. Aw, a pedophile, he said. I wanted somehow for people to understand that my whole career, everything I did and wrote was based in love. Oh, and I felt that, because I never would have thought that about him. So when I saw that headline of that article today, I was like, oh my gosh, who labeled this guy a pedophile? What did he do? And I was curious to know what were the circumstances. So that stemmed from for some, I guess, child pornography charges, which I knew nothing about. I probably was too young to see any article about that. So you was good in my book, Pee-wee. You was always good in my book. During one of their interviews, Rubens told Wolf, death is just so final. To be able to get your message in at the last minute or at some point is incredible. So he planned that. He was like, that was very monumental. That was very epic, and that was very legendary, because of course he has passed away, and it's like he passed away with this label on him, but then he gets the final word, he gets the final say. And what I like about him is he did not continue to get in trouble. You did not see him in the news or in headlines for different things all the time. He got in trouble that one time, but you never saw like him getting in trouble multiple times all the time, or even in the news for his relationships or anything like that. So I think that was so nice. That was so legendary. He did that. He did that. That was epic, because he really did have the last word. Because I haven't heard anything from Pee Wee Herman since then. So rest in peace to Pee Wee Herman. I didn't even know he passed away. So he passed away back in 2023. So I want to know, did you think that he was a pedophile? Did you hear about this? Was this a part of your childhood? And comment down below. What do you think? So that is all I have today. I would like to thank you guys for engaging. Thank you for your comments. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in.